It's Euro 2024 final review, next England manager, Champions League picks edition of the, I think, Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Build your own betting model using their AI betting engine. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Tune that the music came through there for the first time, Baz, hence I was having a little dance. Welcome everybody to the Premier League Gambling Podcast. Is it again? Who knows? On the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. Yes, I'm in my dressing gown, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, I've got no idea, Tuesday. Let's start there. Any idea, Baz?
16th
Tuesday, the 16th of July. We are here to cast an eye over the final of Euro 2024. We will also have a look at the rest of the tournament, see where we went right, where we went wrong. We'll have a look at the next England manager market. And we've made some Champions League qualifying games picks for Wednesday night because we're experts at that. Joining me is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Should point out at the start here, anyone who usually catches us via Twitter, Malcolm, have you realised we can't stream to Twitter anymore?
I have, yeah, but we kind of knew that anyway because someone else had alerted that in the little company chat thing. Did you notice that?
Apparently Elon Musk's put his foot down on that. So it used to appear on Twitter. So a lot of people might watch it on YouTube, but they might get alerted to that via Twitter. You won't get that anymore because Elon Musk says you've got to subscribe if you want to stream to Twitter. So a little change. If you are someone who normally gets alerted by our Twitter update, that doesn't happen anymore because Elon Musk's a dick.
Well, should we subscribe? How much does that cost? Or can we not be off?
It's probably a chat for off air.
Do you think? Yeah, fair enough. The entire thing we could have done off air, really, Barry. I mean, it's well seen, Barry, that we're into the off-season. This is officially off-season. I'm sitting in my dressing gown. And you, Barry, when you clicked on here at 1 minute to 10, we're sitting eating a fucking Magnum. And look at this. Hazelnut Magnum. I know Michael gets stuck into you for Tory Scran. That's more Tory Scran, Barry. Your reputation's through the floor here. And then I said, what flavour is it? And you replied, nutty as fuck, with your exact words, which made me laugh as well. Do you want to talk us through a 10p Magnum?
I mean, it's almond, not hazelnut, for a start. It's definitely not Tory Scran because it was an Aldi fake version.
Right, okay, I'll give you that.
Speaking of Tory Scran, I got really annoyed yesterday. The local football club, of which I am a, stalwart, treasurer, coach, all-round volunteer of the local club, we're rolling out the red carpet to our local Tory MP for the Euros final the other night. So I logs on to Twitter and there's the MP with all his photo opportunities at the football club. Look at me, I'm watching the football in my England shirt, the big Tory wanker.
You should have gone down and given him a bit, Baz.
I would have done if I'd known he was going to be there.
I mean, to be fair, Baz, we've got some of our listeners like big Tories and we just blithely abuse them at all points. But then again, to say we're Man United and Liverpool fans, it's all the same old shit. Cree was waiting for us. We advised Cree to let it ride the other night. We told him company policy was to let it ride. He had a hedge, and he didn't cash out. He let it ride. So Cree was buzzing about that. Callum joined us. Andy Williams, Andy, how you doing? Lee, Slick Rick, Connor. Connor doesn't get in very often. Nice to see you. And the backers people as well. I mean, I love it when a plan comes together. You spend the weekend, you get in the lab, Barry, you put me white coat on, and a pair of goggles, and I got stuck into a game and came out completely on the right side of it. Annan Athletic 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0 on Saturday afternoon. There was only 3 people in the entire world that put that bet on, Barry. Me, Callum, and old Benedict Arnold. He messaged me on Twitter as well. He got involved. 7-4 they went off, Annan Athletic. So I can now update my LinkedIn bio with Scottish League Cup qualifying round mid-July expert. So, yeah, over the moon with that one, Baz. That was the big story of the weekend, I think. Did you watch that?
I missed that one. That bypassed me. I did catch that other game on Sunday, but that wasn't up to much, was it?
Nah. Tell us about winners.
Full of winners.
Tell us about B-Fest first.
B-Fest. Oh, a bit of controversy with B-Fest. 2 things. I should have took out a bank loan before I went there because they had 3 fairground rides, £4 a pop, 2 children, and you're there for 8 hours. We get there at 2 o'clock. It doesn't finish till 10. How many times do you think a child can go on a waltzer at £4 a pop? The answer is lots. I reckon me and Helen must have got done for about 100 quid each for rides. We could have had a trip to Glastonbury for how much I spent on Saturday at B-Fest. And the other thing was, despite some decent bands, there was the Beautiful South, were a decent tribute band. There was the Moderators who played all the madness stuff and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the big headline act was U2, and wow, they were absolutely awful. Band was good. The bloke couldn't sing, like literally hopeless. And if you look at the reviews for them, apparently they're one of the big U2 touring sort of tribute bands. Apparently he was ill. He wasn't feeling very well on the day. So that went down like a lead balloon. It was a bit of a sour end to it all. Never seen the place clear out so quick. Good day, though. We had a good day.
I don't think I would thank you for watching a U2 tribute band anyway. If you want an example of terrible singing, the MLB All-Star game last night, the lass who done the national anthem, Ingrid Andress, I think she is, Grammy Award-winning, absolutely butchered the anthem. It was one of the worst things you've ever heard. And she's released a statement today saying, "Sorry, I was drunk. I'm going into rehab." So that's the end of that. So she's got herself out of it by saying that. But if you haven't seen it, I'm sure all the American listeners and Canadians have. But if you haven't, go and have a look at that. It was quite incredible. What we're going to do tonight is, Baz, a little chat about the tournament, really. And we'll go through our bets, what was good, what was bad. We've got an England manager market to have a look at. I have got some hot off the press breaking news, Barry, that no one else has got. So I'll get to that when we talk about that. And then Champions League tomorrow night, Champions League qualifiers. So we'll get amongst that. In terms of the final, Baz, I think it was fair enough. I think the result was fair enough. Spain, on balance, were probably 1 goal better than England. That second goal cast just about all of my bets in a lot of yours as well. Because I took what I felt was most likely to happen in the game, which was I felt Spain would be better. I felt they had 2 goals in them. We had Spain at 6-4. We had the goals at 7-4. Spain to score first was my third pick, and both teams to score evens. So my 4 main picks, I hit them all. Delighted to do so. Obviously, I would have liked to have seen England win. Didn't bother me either way. We've said that from day one. Was never going to affect my mood. The fact that we handicapped it like that, Barry, tells you something, because really, with the players that England had available to them, best player in La Liga, best player in the Premier League, best player in the Bundesliga, you should have been handicapping them, saying England have got a puncher's chance. If they hang in, they might win it on penalties. That was the way we were going about it. The Arsenal v West Ham, we were handicapping them like they were West Ham. And we shouldn't have been. We should have been handicapping like it was Arsenal v Liverpool or someone. But that's just not the way it panned out. All my other player props were shite. I picked a load of yellow cards, and there was 5 yellow cards in the game, and hit none of them. Yellow card after the 29th minute. I was getting there. It was exciting, that. And then Harry Kane slipped in about the 25th minute and caught that kid on the ankle, and he got booked. So that done for that one. So absolutely over the moon, though. Finished in profit on the game itself. What did you make of it, Baz?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you picked 3 cards, I picked 3 cards, and we couldn't hit one between us.
Yeah.
So like you, the props didn't come off well for me. Bet builders weren't brilliant, but picked Spain, picked the Spain team total. And as you say, the better team won. And I followed the same script as pretty much every other England game. As long as we weren't losing, we were happy. And at 1-1, just before they go ahead, we were happy. We're happy with 1-1. We'll take it extra time. We'll get the penalties. That's fine. I mean, before they scored the goal, Spain, he had Trippier and Gallagher ready to come on, ready to come on, which shows you the approach. It was happy with a 1-1. They're not changes you make if you're trying to go and win the game like Spain were. And I think you had to abandon that when Spain go 2-1 up and you give Tony, 4 minutes run out to try and find a miracle. Like you, I was over it pretty quickly. I reckon I probably took longer getting over Newcastle's Carabao Cup quarter-final loss to Chelsea. I probably took longer to get over Newcastle losing at home to Forest in December. There's pretty much anything club related I get over pretty quickly. I did, like you, we wanted to see England win. I did have a moment of hope in the afternoon where I actually went and put the champagne in the fridge just in case. And you might have seen my little video later of it coming out of the fridge and it's gone to the back of the cupboard. Next couple of years, you never know, it might come out again. But it just, I just can't understand the whole approach to this tournament throughout. And you listen to Southgate after the game. He said the players were struggling physically. If they're struggling physically, you've only made 3 subs, and one of them was in the 89th minute. Make a change. He said Jude Bellingham was cramping up. He didn't bring him off. Left him on the full game. He said Kane struggled physically all tournament, never hit the levels they hoped for. He started him 6 games in a row. We all seen these things, and he's seen them, but he wouldn't change any of it. I mean, the whole tournament, I just thought it was a very negative approach in every game. They didn't attack a game until they went behind, and as soon as they could equalise, that was it. They were happy with that. And I had a sort of listening to the commentary afterwards. It was the way I said to you a few times as the tournament went on. Pundits and the press were just writing this narrative that didn't match what we were watching on the pitch. So after we scraped past, whether it was Slovakia or Denmark or Switzerland, whatever it was all the talk was like, Southgate's getting everything right here. He's getting us all the way through the final. And nobody was criticising anything going into the final, apart from maybe me and you, who had admitted it had been a bit shite all the way through. But a second we lose that game, all of those pundits, press, everyone go back to saying, yeah, well, we've never been good enough all tournament, have we? It was just a total turnaround. Nobody was questioning anything going into the final. You weren't allowed to question England going into the final. You had to be all positive. I mean, there's a few things. I think I don't think he did get the subs right. I think he got lucky a few times, but a lot of them changes should have happened earlier. Players like Palmer should have got more time on the pitch. Kane should have had less time on the pitch. Anthony Gordon not getting a sniff. That was another thing where earlier in the tournament, everyone was talking about Anthony Gordon should be getting more game time. And that all went quiet as we started progressing. And then after the final, you hear people like Gary Neville, Gary Lineker all saying Anthony Gordon needed to get more game time. And I think it was ridiculous. I think, once we never got any action out of him in the group stages, it was never going to happen in the knockouts. But I think the big issue for me, for England, I think, was possibly not winning that Denmark game in the second group game. Because if they win that, they've won the group. You go into that third game and you can freshen up everything. Bellingham can have a rest. Kane can have a rest. And you could then try those players who can come in and try and make a case, which potentially makes them available later on in the tournament. So I think not winning the group earlier on probably made a difference. But I've probably ranted enough about England this tournament, and here I go again. But it is what it is. I'm over it. We didn't deserve it. Move on.
For someone who doesn't care, Baz, you've got a lot to say on the subject, but that's fair enough. We move on. The Sports Gambling Podcast is getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. Tune in wherever you get your podcasts or on the SGPN app. Pick 8 is now live on Underdog Fantasy. You can create entries with up to 8 picks. Underdog will automatically double flex entries so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win. More picks to make and extra ways to win. The excitement is higher than ever. Win up to 325 times your original amount. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim that special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. And the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions is back for NFL season. $16 million in guaranteed prizes. The Circa Millions pick 5 NFL teams ATS every week and run the gauntlet for the survivor to claim the $10 million prize in that one. You need to sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September the 7th, and then use our proxy. You can play from anywhere. You've got to deal with a proxy. It is footballcontestproxy.com. That'll save you $50 with the promo code SGP. Rest of the tournament, Baz. I think I just had no consistency at all. If you go back to that very first round of games, Barry, the first 12 games, I was 0-11, if you remember. I finished at 12 games on 1-11. So when we don't track, we've never tracked, we've never kept count. We had that conversation before episode 1, and we decided, no, what's the point? It's not something I think I've ever done as a gambler. I don't think you've done it. I bet no one, very few people who listen to the show do it. Because, stakes change. If you've had a winner, you might let it ride. You might get on a heater, stuff like that. They're just not something we've done. If we were playing to a level stake, that would have taken some catching up to go 1-11. Because I was at about 9 units down after that first round. We're then pretty much average all the way through until the semi-final and the final, and then smashed all 3 of those games. So would have got it back to a fairly decent result on the semis and the final. In terms of the £1 million picks, Bars, I absolutely blobbed everything. France were my main play. France not winning the group cost me a nice treble. England, Portugal, France, group winners. And Georgia not being completely shite, which I thought they were going to be, also cost me. So for the first time in £3 million shows, Baz, having won on the World Cup, won on the Premier League, done me money here. So what was your general outcome, do you think?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the £1 million show, because in your own words, you say that is the true test of who is the best tipster.
But no, that was just for the Premier League, Barry.
And so we can talk about that as much as you like, because for the third successive time, my £1 million show picks have won a profit yet again. So my £1 million was returned 1.9 million, Malcolm. That's £900,000 of profit. I had 50,000 on Rodri, player of the tournament, 33 to 1. That returns 1.7 million, that, Malcolm, which is nice. I think you'll agree.
It's a few goes on the wall, says Baz, isn't it?
That is, and then I had £100,000 on Kane to be top scorer at 11 to 2. Now he gets a 5-way share of that, so that cashes an even money winner. There's another 200,000. So I'm calculating a 1.9 million return from my £1 million staked. So yeah, absolutely smashed that to bits. Like you, really hit and miss throughout the tournament. I think if you looked at my bets as a level stake across the way, I would guarantee I would be behind. I have struggled. I found it difficult, and I would imagine most people had found it quite difficult, and not because necessarily it didn't know what was coming. I think the bookies made it very hard as well. You know, that period where the goals just dropped out of games.
Yeah,
bookies suddenly were all over it. It was 1-2s and 4-9s for the unders and things like that. And it made it really, really hard to find, and you end up sort of looking elsewhere. Or like you did, you start thinking the overs is becoming a bit of value here, and you sort of try and take a punt on that. So I think it was difficult tournament throughout, really. As I say, the outright, a bit fortunate for me, because let down by similar things to you. France not winning their group let me down for a treble. Portugal not going to the semis was a big one for me. But yeah, got a little bit fortunate with Rodri coming in. I was a little bit worried when Rodri went off at half time. Thought if anybody else does anything here, then I am in trouble. But there we go.
Did you go on the Walsers?
No,
not for you. No, it's not for me. The last time I went on the Walsers at the Hopens, I absolutely whited everywhere, like puked me ring up out the back. I was about 14.
That might have been what's been wrong with Chloe ever since. So we were there Saturday. Chloe must have had about 20 goes on the Walser. Sunday morning, I had to drive her all the way to Mansfield for a referee's course. Halfway there, it's about 45-minute journey. Halfway there, she says, I'm going to be sick. And she's like in the front of the car, retching. And I'm frantically trying to find somewhere I can pull over. I make it to a lay-by. She throws up, has a drink, decides she's going to be okay. So we carry on. We drive all the way up to Mansfield. We get to the car park, just sick again. And then I had to drive all the way back. So an hour and a half round trip just for me to bring her back home and send her back to bed. So that was a bit of a disaster. I think
so she's not past her thingy then? She's not got her first game anymore?
No, she's got to go next Sunday now to catch up.
Well, I never. So yeah, just draw a line under this tournament then, Baz. I mean, I enjoyed it because I enjoy every international tournament because you're sitting watching football at 2:00 on a Monday afternoon, and what's not to like about it. But if you said to me now, what was your favourite game? I can't think of it. I've still got the wall chart sitting there, looking right at the wall chart. And I just can't really think of any. There was Turkey, Georgia was quite good fun.
Yeah,
I think
that would be the first one that would spring to mind would be Turkey, Georgia for me. I think. Good game. There was a lot of games where you had one good half. You think like France v Spain was decent in the first half and then fizzled out a bit. A few games which had bursts of entertainment.
Bits of drama, wasn't there? Yeah, like the Scotland-Hungary game was fun right at the end. Obviously, England, Bellingham's overhead kick, Germany's last-minute equaliser against Spain. I mean, Andy in the chat saying Spain-Croatia, which I think technically was a really good game. It was 3-0 at half-time, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? He was there, which is basically what he's putting it up for. But it was fine. It was all right, but it was instantly forgettable. Like, you weren't chatting about it the next day. Everyone, oh, what a game. And I did think Spain were brilliant. But equally, you look at their squad and they've got players in it like Jose Perez. I love Jose Perez. I messaged straight Terza on Sunday night straight away. Jose Perez, European Championship winner. I'd fucking rather have 10. I'd rather play with 10 than have him in my team. She still won't let it lie. Jose Perez has been usurped by Miguel Almiron in Terza's poison mind. But yeah, him, Joselu, Cucurella, and I'm sure there's a few others. They're not a standout team squad. They were what 5-6 to 1 to win it at the start. It's not like they were 11-8 favourites and they cut a path to everybody. So yeah, it was all right, Baz, but very much looking forward to getting the proper football back. We've got the Olympics coming up, Barry. I think our next show is going to be on the Olympic tournament, men and women's, which starts next week or the week after. So at the weekend, we'll do the Olympics. We've got our EFL previews penciled in, starting on round about the 5th of August, and all sorts of other stuff going on as well. So that's the plan, right? We'll get stuck into the England managers market. Chef joined us, below average cook. Yes, Chef, how you doing? If you're betting on player props, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making your betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's projections have been red hot for the WNBA and the golf. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. So we've got a new England manager market to have a look at here. And we've even got a line movement report because I looked at these this morning. Graham Potter was the 7-4 favourite, with Lee Carsley tucked in second and Eddie Howe 11-4 third. Everyone's flip-flopped. Eddie Howe is now your 2-1 favourite. Graham Potter is 11-4 plus 275. Lee Carsley is 3-1. You then have a jump to the double-figure prices, which brings in Jurgen Klopp. Thought we'd seen the back of him, didn't we? 10-1, Maurizio Pochettino 11s, Thomas Tuchel 18, 20-1 Bar, Frank Lampard. Right, there's a bloke here at 20-1, Barry. Oh, Stephen Holland, is that the coach? England.
He's the right-hand man, isn't he? Southgate.
Current coach.
Right-hand man, yeah.
and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. There's some funny names on here. I should have done it. I could have quizzed you, Barry, on are these people on the list or are they not on the list? I mean, Ashley Cole.
Russell Martin.
What?
Russell Martin.
Russell Martin, yeah. Martin Russell. Never trust a man with two first names. Emma Hayes is on there. Serena Wiegman, 66-1. Andy Williams is up there at 250-1, except he's Welsh, so I wouldn't be giving him that. Below Average Goose asking if Southgate is on the tit list. No, I don't think he is, because really, I think he outperformed. He did better than a lot of England managers has done. I think he just fell victim to kind of his own personality in the end. He wasn't a very dynamic man. He's not. This actually ties into what we're talking about now, because what Southgate is, what Southgate was, is kind of what the FA are looking for. Look at those three names at the top of the list: Eddie Howe, I keep wanting to say Brian Potter, and Graham Potter and Lee Carsley are all undynamic, great men. And I think where the job is a little bit easier, because Southgate didn't win anything. Same with Newcastle, actually, in a way, but by not going down the road, it remains the road ahead. So you still have that possibility that they're not following. Imagine if you tried to follow Southgate if he'd won. You got bloody no chance. He hasn't won anything forever. You just can't do it. I mean, so in terms of ticking boxes, Baz, is a box ticking exercise. You're looking for someone who's English. I think if you listen to Mark Bullingham, who is I think it's the chief exec of the FA pre-tournament, and he hasn't expressly come out and said we want an English manager, but he's very much intimated it. And a big part of the FA's job, not just providing the infrastructure for players and stuff, is to provide a coaching infrastructure. So if they appointed a foreign manager, it would almost be an admission of their failure that their coaching programs, their St George's Park and everything else, haven't been able to bring through a manager good enough. So I don't think they're going to do that at all. And that's why you see the three English people at the top of the list. Someone who you could use the word measured, but you could also use the word a little bit boring, which is what Southgate was. He's not charging up and down the touchline being a tit like Klopp, Arteta, etc. Eddie Howe, Potter, Carsley, all very much fit that bill, measured in their press conferences, measured in their behaviour in victory, their behaviour in defeat, stuff like that. And also, I think they're young. Use the word coach rather than manager types. You know, your old Terry Venables, Bobby Robson, even Sam Allardyce, whatever, managers. Eddie Howe and Potter and Carsley are all coaches. So I think is box ticking. I don't think you can look beyond them. I just don't. So in terms of the breaking news that I alluded to earlier on, I've been on, Barry, to our friend at Sky Sports. I'm not going to name names, but he's been on the show before, so that narrows it down a little bit. And I messaged him. I'll give you the exact. I just got a message off the missus that says, "Hey, ordered you some new gloves." Didn't know I needed new gloves, Baz. I don't know what for. I don't know what I'm expecting to do with them. Getting some new gloves anyway. Right, here we go. I messaged at 18:50, and it says Eddie England ? Reply comes back at 9:30. Not sure. Obviously a hard one to turn down. So what do you think of that? Now, this is someone who's pretty much ghostwritten Eddie Howe's autobiography in the last couple of years. So without giving too much away, he has not ruled out Eddie Howe going to England. The thing I would say on Howe is that just last week he lost his two closest allies at Newcastle United in Amanda Staveley and Murdad, who did what they're always going to do, sold their stake back to the Saudis, having brokered the deal. But any press conference, any interview, the Netflix documentary, all of that shit, they were absolutely Eddie Howe's biggest cheerleaders were Staveley and Gudusi, and now they've gone. So, Barry, if you put this £10 note in my hand right now and ask me to stake it on someone, I've got £12 actually, and go over it. I'll be putting it on Eddie Howe at 2-1, Barry. That's where my money would go. What do you think?
I'm not having it. I don't think I will take it. Maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know. You're right. It is a big job to turn down, but it depends. It's a massive sort of change in direction for any manager to take this job when you're sort of on an upward trajectory in terms of your coaching life cycle, which he is, and I just feel, I don't know whether it's his thing to get away from the day-to-day being out there every day coaching type of thing. I think he's got years ahead of him in which to take up those opportunities potentially. I don't know. It's hard. None of us know, do we? None of us know whether he's absolutely sort of dedicated to Newcastle or whether he will see it as too big an opportunity. I think there's every chance he will be the FA's first choice. And then, nobody really knows what he's thinking at this point. So I'm going against it. I'm not sure about Potter. Potter, I think, has got more potential because he's currently without a job. He's also turned jobs down, so maybe he thought there was an opportunity that might come along the way. But for me, if I had £10, I don't, because I spent it all on the waltzers at the weekend, I would put it on Carsley. And the reason being, it's a similar sort of move to what they did when they brought Southgate in. It was promoting someone from within who was already in the system. I think the FA will look back at that appointment of Southgate and see it as a success. And it is, in some respects, he has changed a lot of things around the camp. There's no doubt the sort of players enjoy going to play for England again. And I think they enjoyed playing for Southgate. I think there's a lot of positives to come out, just not much of the football. So I think they'd be tempted to go down that route again because it's, in their eyes, it's worked. In terms of looking at where we were when Southgate came to where we are now, there has been progression. So Carsley would make sense that there. But also, if you look at Spain, De La Fuente has came through their system, under 21s coach, moved up into the big setup. And the very same with World Cup winners Argentina, who have also just won the Copa America. Scaloni is another one who sort of came through the ranks on the international scene rather than being sort of parachuted in from a top club job. So I think they could be tempted to go down that route again. My tenner would go on Carsley. I did expect it to be a slightly bigger price. Those prices just seem to be moving around all day long, to be honest. But yeah, I'm going with Carsley. And it's a lot of that is possibly because I hope Howe doesn't leave. But then, of course, if he does, we can all talk about who's going to be the next Newcastle manager and then get a punt on that as well. So, of course, you'll have £48 in your pocket and you've put your £12 on him. So
I'm just going to make it clear, I'm not going to put this £12 on Eddie Howe. It would only be 36, Barry, by the way, because I'm just not. But I'm not interested. I hope he stays. If he does go, I wouldn't be that heartbroken, because I think there's other managers out there, and I maybe think things have just changed at Newcastle a little bit. Even the stuff we didn't see coming, the FFP, has maybe just changed the landscape of what House signed up for. But we don't know is the short answer. It's not a market I'll be getting involved in. But yeah, we'll go from there. Serial joined us. Serial wants to know about the finalists. When on earth was that? Spain v who won Argentina? Argentina won and then went all mad racist for 20 minutes, didn't they? So that was
finalism is not something that grabs anyone's attention over here, is it? Much like things like the Super Cup and Charity Shield and those sort of things.
All those. Well, that's not so the unimportant things, Barry, because what we're concentrating on here, Serial, get ready for this, is we've got some games on Wednesday night here. UEFA Champions League qualifying. And do you remember last year's favourites, FC Struga, Trim and Lum? They're back, but I didn't handicap them. I'm actually quite interested, Barry, to see what game. I've made 2 picks. How many have you got?
I've got 2 as well.
Right, okay. And I like doing this because we haven't spoke about this, just to see if we're in any way on the same wavelength in terms of the games we picked and the betting opportunities that we've seen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 6 games tomorrow. Do you want to go first or second, Barry?
I can go first. I mean, I messaged you yesterday. We talked about doing this podcast, and I said there are some Champions League games. If we want to make a pick on the show, and you said okay. I opened up the Champions League market tonight, and I just looked at it and shook my head and thought, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
I also thought that when after I didn't know what was going on. I thought there might be something worthwhile, and you messaged me that. I thought, "All right, Baz, yeah, that's a good idea." And then I thought the same thing. Yeah, you stitched us right up here, Baz.
Yeah, so obviously I'm so sort of well drilled on these qualifying games that it had bypassed me that the first legs had already taken place.
Yes, that's another thing as well.
The first thing that stood out was that of the 6 games taking place tomorrow, 5 of them have already got away teams who won the leg at home, some of them with a decent lead. So you've got the better side away from home with a lead, not necessarily needing a result, which makes it a little bit tricky picking winners, I think, from it. So I've went into goals market. And the one that stood out for me, it's got to be FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg.
Yes.
They're up against Key Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands.
I've got this game, Baz.
Yes,
I've done this game.
I mean, it looks a good game on paper, doesn't it, Mal? Over 2.5 for me here. The home side, FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg, are the favourites. They've got a 2-goal deficit to overturn, though. They're 2-0 down from the first leg. They're 8-11 favourites to win the match. And they're short odds to score a couple of goals themselves, 4-6. So I'm going to take the over 2.5 here because I think Key Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands will get in on the action. I think they'll get a goal along the way. FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg may get a couple. But either way, it will finish over 2.5. I think it's around 3 to 4. But I'm going for a double anyway. So the other pick for me is Slovan Bratislava against show favourites FC Struga, Trim and Lum.
Are you doing both of yours, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going straight in. It's a double. It's just a double.
All right, okay.
It's a straight double. So Slovan Bratislava take a 4-2 lead into this one. So full of goals last week. They are away from home this time, but I think Bratislava will be in amongst the goals again. Against the Macedonian side, FC Struga, Trim and Lum, I think Slovan Bratislava are just a different level here. So over 1.5 team total for Slovan Bratislava. Double that up with the over 2.5 in FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg versus Key Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands. Gets you a 2-1 double. Simple as that.
All right. Well, first game I went to, Barry, was also FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg versus Key. Yeah, I say I wanted to go with KI Klaksvik, but you've gone with Key Klaksvik. So we'll stick with that, with Key Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands. The prices here, but so Klaksvik won the first leg 2-0 in the Faroes. And the prices here are really weird because Differdange, FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg, are 13 to 18, minus 138. And KI Klaksvik of the Faroe Islands are 15 to 4, plus 375. They're plus 375 and won the first leg 2-0, which I think is a bit of a weird one. Because they're 130 on to qualify. FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg are 5-2 to go through. So that's a bit mad, that. But I think even on the double chance, Baz, I think even money's a fair price for Kai Klaksvik here as well. They won the league in the Faroes comfortably again. But this stage last year, Barry, this competition, they got a 0-0 home draw with Ferencváros, who were a decent side. They then went to Hungary and won 3-0. They then took on Häcken, who were a good side as well, knocked them out. And then they knocked out the Norwegian champions, Molde. On that form, 15 to 4 is an absolute great price because FC03 Differdange of Luxembourg just haven't got that form in the book, like. So the pick's going to be KI Klaxvik even money on the double chance pass, the main play. But I wouldn't put you off Klaxvik winning this outright at 15-4 plus 375. The second game I've got here is Larne against Riga FS. So Larne from the League of Ireland and Riga, the Latvian champions. Riga won the first game 3-0 last week in Latvia. Larne are 11-4 plus 275 here. The draw is 5-2, and Riga are 9-10 minus 111. So Larne, the League of Ireland champs, need a bit of a miracle here back at Inver Park tomorrow. And they just didn't look like scoring last week in Latvia, even a little bit. Baz, I watched most of the game. What are you laughing at? Shut up, man. Riga are in great form. Riga are probably in the best form of anyone in this stage of the competition. They're 12 unbeaten, and that's 11 wins and a draw, by the way. They've got 1 defeat in 36 in the league. They played Europa Conference League football, Barry, 22-23. In that little run, they got a 1-1 with Fiorentina. The star striker, kid who gets all the goals, the big Serb, Darko Lemijic, he was rested last week, didn't even get a game. They've absolutely got the pedigree to roll on over here tomorrow, a great price. So I'm going to take Riga at 9-10 minus 111, Barry.
Yeah, people are asking in the chat if I've got a corners ladder. Lee reckons FC Differdon love a corner, apparently. Well, I just went onto my stats site that I use, rolled up the fixtures for tomorrow, clicked on FC Differdon, and no data is found. That's how far down the rankings they are. No data available. But anyway, we've got you a few winners there. What more do you want?
All over it. I mean,
Olympic corner ladders incoming at the weekend, maybe.
We'll add that on to Annin Athletic from Saturday, Baz, once KI Klaxvik and Riga have done the business. And then Olympics is what we've got to get stuck into next. Well done, Barry. We did a remarkable job of dragging that shite out to 43 minutes. Is there anything else you want to tell the people before we let them go?
I've got a spice jar in my hand. I'd like you to guess what that is. I'll give you a few seconds to guess what the spice jar is.
I'm in good form here. This is just the Tory Scran section. This is Michael's favourite.
Yeah, we'll see if you can guess what Tory spices are in my hand. And
spice jar.
I'll be downloading I'll be checking all the downloads at the weekend to see how many Faroe Islands or Luxembourg downloads we can get. That's the aim, Malcolm. We need to get all the hashtags in. Yeah. And see if we can get one download from Luxembourg, the Faroe Islands, or Macedonia. That's the challenge this week.
Well, remember that fella from Nepal was absolutely buzzing through the World Cup last year. He loved it, didn't he? Every single episode he listened to. So this jar, Barry, is it like one of those?
It's just a standard. It's just a standard spice jar, yeah.
Knowing you, it's almost certainly a paprika.
I'll give you a clue. It's an orange lid rather than a green one, so it's a spice rather than a herb, you would say.
No, not paprika.
It's not paprika, no.
5 spice.
One more guess. No, you're wrong. It's cardamom pods.
Now,
I don't know if you realise, Malcolm, cardamom pods are quite an expensive spice.
Are they a spice though, Barry?
Well,
I would say they were an aromat.
Well, they could be.
Really,
below average you
tell us about this. That's an aromat, isn't it?
Yeah, you're probably right there. But it's normally quite an expensive one. And this was found in the Middle Isle of Aldi this week. 50 pence for a jar.
Oh, tidy.
And that's a good deal. That's why I picked up 2. Because I've got
quite
the big jar up there with the cardamom pods in. It's getting quite empty. So now I'll decant those.
Yeah.
Big jar. And I'll have tons of cardamom pods. That'll keep me going for a while.
Can be quite overpowering, can't if you bite on one in your curry.
Yeah, you've got to count them in and count them out, like.
A little bit of like those aeroplanes in the Falklands War. That's one for the teenagers. Talk amongst yourselves. Right, okay, Baz, let's go. Sunday night probably we'll do the Olympics. So if you want a night off, everyone, I recommend that one. But until then, thanks for joining us. That was plenty fun. And we'll see you down the road. Cheers.